got to bring
Good morning, and welcome. And I declare the Scenic Rim Regional Council Ordinary Meeting for Wednesday, the 28th of May, 2025, now open. I'd like to commence by acknowledging the traditional owners on the lands of which we meet and pay respect to elders past and present. Moving on to item 2, I believe we have a full attendance and no apologies today, and would now like to welcome to the chamber Father Ken Spreadborough for prayers. Thank you, Father Ken.
Thank you, and what a pleasure it is to be here, and I'm so pleased to be able to come and pray with you. I want to begin actually by giving thanks for our recent federal election, giving thanks that in so many parts of the world elections cause riot and great disruption. We are thankful that we here in Australia can go about the process of electing our governments, federal, state and local, knowing that we do so in safety. And Lord, we do pray that the newly elected federal government may make wise decisions for the benefit of all Australians. And we remember that winter is upon us, and we're reminded of the words from the book of Genesis. As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night shall not cease. And we remember what winter means. We learn the valuable lessons about waiting in darkness with hope and trust. We give thanks to God for the season of blood-red sunsets and star-filled long nights, as you, Lord, faithfully pours out your beauty. In winter, we are thankful for the small things that lift our spirits, the warmth of another smile or embrace, the glimpse of the sun through the clouds, freshly brewed coffee, newly baked bread, hot soup. And Lord, we give thanks for the warmth and the beauty of this place in which we live, by the company of family and friends, by our passion for justice and peace. Loving God, as this council comes before you today, we ask for your hand in guiding their collaboration as they pool their talents and energies, seeking the harmony that comes from your grace, asking that their work together may reflect the community found in your love. May all members be patient with one another, quick to understand, slow to judge, and eager to support, asking for the humility to value each other's contributions, the openness to learn from one another, and the wisdom to see where they might fit into your divine plan. Help them to communicate with clarity and act with integrity, so that the fruits of their labour may be pleasing to you. Bless their joint efforts with your presence, for in you may they find purpose, and in your service find joy. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Father. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for what you do within our community and in the region. And we wish you all the best for the day. Moving on to item 5, I believe there are no public question time today. And on notice, item 6, are there any, from the members, are there any declarable, prescribed or declarable conflict of interest by members? No. There are no announcements today. And moving on to item 8, presentation of petitions. Call upon Councillor Hay.
Thank you, Chair. I'm tabling a petition from Sophie Newman, a school student, which contains 1,518 signatures, and the petition is as follows: that all who have signed the petition are in favour of an integrated multi-purpose pathway on Tamborine Mountain, a fundamental piece of infrastructure needed on Tamborine Mountain for use by the entire community, all inclusive to accommodate all mobilities. I would like to commend Sophie on her proactive involvement in raising awareness of a need she identified in her local community, and it is encouraging to see that a member of the considerably younger generation of residents taking the initiative in publicising this issue. And I'd like to move the motion that Council receive the petition for integrated multi-purpose pathways on Tamborine Mountain, and to Council refer the petition to the Chief Executive Officer for a report to be brought back to Council. Thank you.
Seconded by Councillor Sanders. Thank you. I put it to the members. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. I now call upon Councillor Moriarty.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to present the petition that is entitled Reform Agritourism Scenic Rim in Queensland, Support the Farmers. There are currently in excess of 20,000 signatures. The issue is, the petition is for cutting red tape to empower farmers in the Scenic Rim and boost the local economy. The chief petitioner is Robert Roberts of 70 Sarabah Road, Sarabah.
Seconded to the motion? Have you put the motion?
Haven't got to the Sorry, I apologise, Mayor. I move that Council receive the petition, Reform Agritourism Scenic Rim in Queensland, Support the Farmers, and 2, Council refer the petition to the Chief Executive Officer for a report to be brought back to Council.
Thank you. Seconded to the motion? Councillor Hay. I put it to the members. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to item 11.1, the Council of Mayors Europe Mission. I call upon Councillor McInnes.
Thanks, Mayor. My pleasure to present the 11.1, the Council of Mayors SEQ European Mission 2025.
My apologies. Could we just put that on hold for the moment, Councillor? I've done a major jump ahead of today, and actually like to go back to point 9 first, confirmation of minutes of the previous meeting. Could I have a motion from the member? Councillor Moriarty.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move the motion that the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on the 30th of April 2025 be adopted.
Thank you. A seconder? Councillor Cryer. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. And item 10, any business arising from the previous minutes? Nothing. We move on to item 11.1 and now call upon the Deputy Mayor, Councillor McInnes. Thank you, Councillor.
Okay, we'll open the gates again. Yes, Mayor and Councillors, it gives me great pleasure to present 11.1, the Council of Mayors SEQ Europe Mission 2025. The Council of Mayors, SEQ, which known as ComSec most of the time, is arranged an international mission to Europe during February 2025. The Mayor, Councillor Tom Sharp, participated in the mission. The focus of the mission was to investigate how city regions leverage major events to advance their global identity and explore intergovernmental initiatives that promote greater investments while balancing the competing interests from other levels of government. A copy of the post-mission report is attached. I take it the report is read. I'll just go on to the recommendation. First, number one, Council note that Councillor Tom Sharp participated in the international mission of the Council of Mayors South East Queensland to Europe during February 2025, and two, Council accept the Council of Mayors South East Queensland Mission 2025 post-mission report as attached. I so move, Mayor.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder to the motion? Councillor Hay. Wish to talk to your motion?
Yes, Mayor, I will just add a few words. Just briefly, the mission actually took in Singapore, Greater Manchester and the Paris region, so it was covered these fairly major cities, not unlike the size of Brisbane and surrounds. And I note the big majority of mayors from South East Queensland took part on the mission. I think it's of great benefit to Scenic Rim moving forward that the mayor is involved in these sort of things, and not only seeing what others are doing, but mixing and dealing with the other mayors of South East Queensland over a period of time. It does the benefits do come back to council, and I congratulate council and the mayor in participating in this. And I think there only might have been one or two mayors that didn't go from memory. Looking through, I could be corrected, Mayor, but there was I know there was one deputy mayor, but but the big majority of mayors did participate. So I think it was a good thing for council, and has had my full support.
Thank you, Councillor McInnes. If I, with the indulgence of the members, just talk to the report quickly and also make a comment. A long time ago, before ever joining this chamber, I held personally a somewhat sceptical view of councillor mayors and the benefit that organisation brought to South East Queensland. That view, outside of before being involved in council, changed somewhat over time and was very much crystallised by the achievement of the Council of Mayors South East Queensland with their $1.8 billion city deal. And having since joined that group, can only say very impressed, not only by the contribution made by the fellow councils, but by the executive team of the Council of Mayors South East Queensland. And to that, I can only, it's their achievements and hard work that have brought these deals, such as the city deal, to fruition, which has seen millions of dollars flow into our region. None better exampled than the Resilient Rivers project, also the $5 million business case for the Bromwellton SDA. But speaking specifically to this mission, and Councillor McGuinness highlighted the visitations to three our regions, Singapore, Manchester and Paris. Manchester, I will highlight, that was the first city or greater region in the world that pulled off a city deal, and that's where those learnings came from. Singapore was very important to the mission in terms of waste management and the technologies that's been applied in a high populous inner city area without impact on that population in terms of the environment and the minimum impact for waste to energy emissions. The importance of those learnings also is that the quantum of dollars that would be needed for a plant or a piece of infrastructure like that, and the needs of this southeast Queensland going forward, is a quantum of potentially a minimum of 3 sites, and work is ongoing in that regard. It is coming crunch time for southeast Queensland and the whole of Queensland with the environmental or the waste levy that is now rising, and the rebate that is now reducing and increasing that margin that is going to hit every ratepayer within our region as we become a collector on behalf of the state. In terms of, I mentioned before, in terms of Manchester and the learnings and of the original city deal and what is coming forward, and in this report highlights ongoing city deals and how those are evolving and the learnings that we have taken away from that. Lastly, in talking towards Paris, one of the major things was post-Olympics and what we learned from them through their experience of holding the Olympics and Paralympics. This is highly relevant to our region, as I've highlighted before, that council is now on a mission through an independent advisory group to bring those Olympic events for 2032 for the Olympics and Paralympics in rowing, canoeing back to our region, and what we need to do in terms of accommodation, transportation, and the necessary infrastructure for the Lake Warralong site. And lastly, I'd just like to reiterate, I would very much like to congratulate the CEO of ComSec, Scott Smith, and Matt Hendry, and the entire team for the body of work, putting over 40 meetings in that 8-day trip. It was an incredible amount of work, and thank them for that.
Mr Mayor, did you just want to comment on the cost to council? That there was no cost to council as such?
Yes, I'm happy to do that. So there was no cost to the ratepayer, in that it must be understood that we pay an annual subscription fee to the Council of Mayors South East Queensland, and the cost of that mission was borne out of that annual subscription. Thank you. Is there anyone wishing to talk against the motion? Then I put it to the members. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Moving to item 11.2, I now call upon Councillor Sanders.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Item 11.2, councillor representation on committees and forums. The elected members represent council on a range of internal and external committees and forums. This representation assists council to remain connected with the local community and also to advocate for the needs of the region at a state and federal level. Draft schedules for the period May 2025 to May 2026 are attached for consideration. The roles and opportunities for representation have been listed. There's a long list of all the extra things that the councillors like to be involved with, and the committees that they're on. I won't comment on any of that other than I think the councillors do a lot of work that we don't often discuss and talk about because they're on a lot of night times, meetings, etc. So I'll put the option 1, that 1, council appoint councillors as councillor representatives on internal and external committees and forums from May 2025 to May 2026, as shown on Table A. 2, council note the attendance of the Mayor, the Deputy Mayor and Divisional Councillors to various committees and forums during the 2024 to 2028 term of council, as shown on Table B. And 3, council authorise payment of all reasonable costs incurred by the councillor representatives in relation to attendance at meetings of the listed committees and forums. And 4, council advise the organisations of the respective appointed councillor representatives as appropriate.
Thank you. Seconded to the motion, Councillor Moriarty. Do you wish to talk to the motion any further, Councillor?
I think if you read Facebook, they'll tell you that we're very lazy and we don't do very much, but I think this just proves that Facebook is sometimes wrong. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of groups that need representation or just attendance at meetings. I think we've got a great group of councillors that are very community-minded and really want to make a change. And so they're out there during the day and night listening to people and bringing things to council and talking about changes that we need to make. So I commend this to everybody for approval and continue into the next couple of years on the work that we're doing.
Thank you. Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? Then I'll put the motion. Yeah, I'd like to make a comment, Councillor Hay.
Yes, thank you, Chair. If you turn to page 16 of the agenda, it mentions Tamborine Mountain Sports Association Limited, the board, and it does state in the column towards the right-hand side that section 29 of the TMSA Constitution provides that one of the directors shall be a nominee of council, and there's also a potential for the Division 2 councillor to attend meetings. I'd just like to flag that that particular quote needs to be further investigated, as at present council does not have a council nominee as a director on the board, so we'd need to revisit that, I think.
Noted. Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? I put it to the member. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. And now I call upon Councillor Cryer to introduce item 11.3.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to introduce item 11.3, Australian Local Government Association 2025 National General Assembly. I take the report as read. I'm going to move straight to the motion I move option 2, that council not authorise any councillors to attend the Australian Local Government Association's National General Assembly to be held in Canberra from the 24 to 27 June 2025.
Thank you, Councillor. Seconded to the motion. Councillor Sanders. Councillor Cryer, you wish to talk to the motion?
No, thank you. It's fine. It's just it falls on an ordinary meeting day, so that's a little bit more tricky to attend, and so yeah, I'll just no further comment.
Thank you. Just to be clear, Councillor Cryer, you were saying it crosses over with a council ordinary meeting, and all the councillors wish to be in full attendance for that meeting.
Yes, that's correct.
There will be a council mayor's delegation to Canberra post that time, which hopefully that we can maximise the leverage for the people of our region through that delegation. Blessings. Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? No. Those, I put it to the members. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. And move on to item 11.4. Blessings, call upon Councillor McGuinness.
Thanks, Matt. 11.4, Operational Plan 2024-2025 Quarter 3 Progress Report. I take it the report's been read. Everyone, the draft, just a bit of background, the draft Q3 progress report against the operational plan 2024-25 is provided, reporting against the period from 1st of January 2025 to 31st of March 2025. A report on council service delivery performance is also attached, which provides information about various council services. Moving to the recommendation, move that one, council approve the draft Q3 2024 to 2025 operational plan progress report, and 2, council approve the draft Q3 2024 to 2025 service delivery report.
Thank you. Seconded to the motion. Councillor Sanders. Councillor McGuinness, would you like to talk to your motion?
Just to add, and those who aren't aware, it is a good feedback for councillors and the public too as well, just how we're tracking, and as always, there's some things are well on track, and others there's always a few things that are lagging a bit, and with shortage of staff in the area and lack of contractors being able to acquired, it's a juggling act, and we try to do our best, and with the council staff and council as a whole, and but it is good to know just where we are, and hopefully by the end of the year we've got caught up with most of the things, and certainly the wet weather didn't help in a number of areas too, so a bit finer weather will allow us to catch up on a few of those important issues.
And I guess the added comment to that in terms of the wet weather, and I feel for the council in that regard, but it's been the extended wet weather period that has seen the water tables full and that ground continually moist. So it's not only just a challenge of the wet weather, it's the conditions on ground as well. With that, I put it to anyone wishing to talk against the motion. I put it to the members, those in favour. Carried unanimously. Call upon Councillor Hay to introduce item 11.5.
Thank you, Chair. I'd introduce item 11.5, request for discount on infrastructure charges, Tamborine Mountain College, and I take the report as read. The motion, which I'll speak to shortly, is that Council refused to grant a discount relating to the infrastructure charges notice for MCU 22/095 given by Council on the 3rd of July 2024. I'll just speak to that motion.
Yeah, have you put it forward a recommendation? Are you putting it forward as a motion?
Yes. Sorry, I'll get to that. Sorry. I'll speak to the recommendation first, and then we'll go to the motion. Sorry. The Tamborine Mountain College has requested a discount on infrastructure charges levied by Council following the approval of a parking station development, citing its charitable status. However, the development does not meet the criteria for automatic waivers under the Infrastructure Charges Resolution version 14, as it is neither on council-owned land nor an eligible community use. Additionally, the college's annual turnover exceeds $5 million and the car park is not accessible for general community use, which disqualifies it from discretionary exemptions intended for smaller or publicly accessible developments. Other non-state schools within the Scenic Rim region have previously paid infrastructure charges in full for comparable developments, reinforcing the importance of consistent application of council policy. The college did not appeal the original infrastructure charges notice and constructed the car park prior to approval, making the charge immediately payable. Granting a discount in this instance would undermine the intent of the resolution, set a problematic precedent and reduce council's capacity to recover the costs of essential infrastructure. So I'll move to the motion. The motion is that council refuse to grant a discount relating to the infrastructure charges notice for MCU 22/095 given by council on the 3rd of July 2024. Thank you.
I have a seconder to the motion. Councillor Moriarty. Councillor Hay, do you wish to talk to your motion?
No, thank you, Mayor. I think for those following along at home or online, if you go to the item in the agenda, it's all quite self-explanatory. There are a list of criteria that must be met in order for infrastructure charges to be reduced or forgiven, for want of a better word. And unfortunately, in this circumstance, the Tamborine Mountain College doesn't meet those criteria. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? I put it to the members. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Call upon Councillor Chalk to introduce item 11.6.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, today I'll introduce report 11.6, which is a request for discount on infrastructure charges, Presbyterian and Methodist Schools Association, much like the item before. This report considers a request from the Presbyterian and Methodist Schools Association for a discount, but I believe the request has been, I know, assessed against the provisions of the Council's adopted infrastructure charge resolution and didn't meet the criteria. So I'll move the following motion: that Council refuse to grant a discount relating for infrastructure charges for the Presbyterian and Methodist Schools Association for a yet to be decided development application MCU 24/169.
Thank you. Seconded to the motion. Councillor Sanders. Councillor Chalk, you wish to talk to the motion?
No, Mr Mayor, thank you. I think it's the same as the motion before, so similar comments apply, so thank you.
Anyone wishing to talk against? I put it to the members. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Call upon Councillor Chalk to introduce item 11.7.
Thank you again, Mr Mayor. Today I'm pleased to present the item 11.7 for the Boonah Show Society. The council was in receipt of a request from the Boonah Show Society for some assistance for this year's Boonah Show. And I'll first move the following motion, which is option 2, I believe. That 1, council acknowledge the request received from the Boonah Show Society and consider under exceptional circumstances that a one-off payment of $25,000 be provided to the Boonah Show Society for the 2025 Boonah Show via an agreement which details conditions proposed by council. 2, council approve the funds to be reallocated from the Regional Prosperity 2024-2025 operational budget and include as part of the budget review process. And 3, council recognise the in-kind support agreed to be provided to the Boonah Show Society for the event.
Thank you. Are you happy? Do you want me to keep going? Could I call upon a seconder to the motion? Councillor Moriarty. Councillor Chalk, would you like to talk to the motion?
Yeah, would Mr Mayor. The Boonah Show is a huge event for the west of the region. It's well put on by some dedicated volunteers in the Boonah area. It attracts a very large crowd each year and is a really great event to attend, which I have attended for nearly every year for most of my life. So I'm pleased to recommend this motion to assist the Boonah Show Society as a one-off in this year to assist them with hosting this year's show.
Thank you, Councillor. Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? That said, I'll put it to the floor. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Call upon Councillor Cryer to introduce item 11.8.
Thank you, Chair. As councillor for the portfolio of Community Arts and Culture, I'd like to introduce the following item 11.8 South East Queensland City Deal Public Art Initiative. I take the report as read. The Federal Minister for Cities, Queensland Government and Council of Mayors South East Queensland are delivering the SEQ City Deal Public Art Initiative with a view to provide long-lasting benefits to eligible local governments in the South East Queensland areas by offering the opportunity to secure a non-competitive grant allocated proportionally based on population. The Scenic Rim Regional Council is eligible for $430,000. Following on from discussions, Council has created a proposal to develop a nature-based water play park in Beaudesert as part of the Davidson Park redevelopment to be delivered via the SEQ City Deal Public Art Initiative, subject to approval of design concepts, with the balance to be sought from Council utilising the public art budget across 2 years of $120,000 and an additional commitment from Council of $350,000. The estimated total cost for this project is $900,000. The Public Art Initiative is an opportunity to support artists to produce public art which will enhance placemaking, deliver improvements to the built environment and promote a more livable South East Queensland. In May 2025, Playscape Designs were commissioned to create a draft playground design incorporating elements of the scenic rim such as the rainforests, rivers and mountains, and as per the SEQ City Deal guidelines, allowing for a broad scope of inclusion of public artworks. On 31st of March 2025, expressions of interest opened for the artist's proposals, with a draft design being included as part of the artist's brief. A remarkable 23 expressions of interest were received. They were assessed and shortlisted by the Scenic Rim Arts Reference Group, with a final selection made of 3 to 4 artworks from the 9 shortlisted artists. Following a 4-week extension granted by the Department of State Development, Infrastructure and Planning, the final submission is now due on the 25th of June 2025. To add to the submission documentation and to ensure successful completion of the project, an in-principle commitment of funds is therefore sought from Council to contribute to the overall budget. So I'd like to now move the motion for option 1, that 1, Council note progress with the proposed nature-based water play park in Beaudesert, including the expression of interest process and the total estimated project cost of $900,000. 2, Council note that a $430,000 funding allocation from the SEQ City Deal Public Art Initiative is available as an allocation, subject to approval of Council's submission. 3, subject to budget approval processes, Council approve in principle the allocation of $120,000 over 2 years from the existing public art budget. And 4, subject to budget approval processes, Council approve in principle the commitment of an additional $350,000 in the capital budget for 2026 to 2027.
Thank you, Councillor. Seconded to the motion. Councillor McInnes. Councillor Cryer, you wish to talk to your motion?
I think that the additional funding will just create such a wonderful space that's based on water play in the park in the Davison Park redevelopment, and it's just a fabulous opportunity presented by the SEQ City Deal Public Art Initiative.
Councillor Hay.
Thank you, Chair. I just have one question in relation to number 2, that Council note that a $430,000 funding allocation is available, subject to approval of Council's submission. Could I ask what happens if that money does not eventuate?
As part of the in principle for the $350,000.
Yes, and the overall cost of $900,000.
Yes. to refer to through the CEO.
Through Mr. Mayor, I'm not sure where, I'd need to see the conditions of the grant going through, so if I can take that on notice and bring it back to council, that'd be great. We did have a little discussion this morning just on the budget.
Just a quick reply from our manager, the project will not proceed. Just receive that message.
So we're just saying it hasn't.
If the funding didn't come through, the project wouldn't proceed. Otherwise, if part of the funding comes through, we'd have to revisit the project scope.
So just in case, this, was the microphone on then? It was? So the council executive officer just replied that if we don't get the funding, then this will not proceed. Is that correct, Mr. CEO?
I'll go to the acting general manager.
That's correct, councillor. Apologies there. If part funding were to proceed, we'd have to revisit the project scope with the appropriate stakeholders.
And Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to add to this to say that there's a lot of excitement around this and the future of the park. I was talking to some of the people from the U3A and there was other groups there as well that were just having a general discussion, and they thought this was absolutely a very exciting and thrilling option for the town, and they're very supportive of it. So I'm hoping we get the funding, and I hope it does happen, and I look forward to finding out about this in the future.
Indeed, it would be quite a positive addition to the people in the town of Bedezza. One question for the acting general manager is just initial at this stage, the location within Davidson Park that's been identified.
Sorry?
The location,
Yes.
which has been identified within the park.
Sorry. Through you, Mr. Mayor. Shane, you're aware of the location?
There was two options being considered, one just out front with the, apologise, there was two locations being considered. One was out the front where the proposed new building was going to be built for the library. The other one in relation to where the pig and calf sales was, and the recent decision to reuse that facility as to trying to incorporate it into there, so that'd be part of the scoping and for the design of the project.
Okay, that's an interesting one. We'll look forward to see how that progresses. Thank you. With that, any further questions? Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? I put it to the members. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Moving on to item 11.9 and call upon Councillor Cryer.
Thank you, Chair. Now let's get to the right page.
Mayor, just before Councillor Cryer introduces this, just for openness, I'm a member of one of the organisations, but I'm not on the executive, so I don't believe I've got any conflict of any kind, but just for openness.
Thank you, Councillor.
That being the Harrisville Lions Club.
Councillor Cryer.
Yes, thank you, Chair and Deputy Mayor. As councillor again for the portfolio of community arts and culture, I'd like to introduce the following item 11.9 2024 to 2025 Scenic Rim Community Grants Program Round 2 Minor Grants. I take the report as read. The aim of Council's Community Grants Program is to provide assistance to local not-for-profit community groups and organisations who make a positive contribution to the quality of life in the Scenic Rim. The program includes Stream 1 for minor community grants with a maximum funding of $5,000 and Stream 2 for major community grants with a maximum funding amount of $20,000. This report advises of applications for the 2024-2025 Minor Community Grants Program Round 2, which opened on 1st of February 2025 and closed on 28th of February 2025. A total of 27 eligible minor applications were received for Round 2, valued at $95,935.02. Following a rigorous selection process undertaken by Council's Grant Assessment Panel, all of the grants for this round have been successful either in full or part funds for their request. With this, I now move the motion for option 1 that, and this is very long, that Council approve the allocations for minor community grants round 2 in the amount of $84,488.09 for 27 projects under the Scenic Rim Community Grants Program 2024 to 2025 as outlined in the following table. The table is titled Minor Community Grants Round 2. It says the community group project amount and recommended as follows. Community group U3A Tamborine Mountain Incorporated Defibrillators Saves Lives, $3,202. The 4275 Collective Incorporated, the 4275 Collective Community Connection, $1,955.25. Canungra Men's Shed Incorporated, Safety Fencing for Awning, $2,500. Boona Working Stock Dog Club Incorporated, Boona Yard Dog Trial, $1,320. Bow Desert Genealogy Incorporated, purchase of laminator, $900. Bow Desert Show Society Storage Shelving, $3,374.10. Artesian Fair, to hold the Artesian Fair, $1,239.25. Canungra Area Golf Club Incorporated, upgrade outdoor area flooring, $5,000. Tamborine Mountain Scout Group, the Scout Association of Australia, Queensland Branch Incorporated, Tamborine Mountain Scout Group air conditioning, $5,000. Bow Desert and District Junior Rugby League canteen upgrade, $4,865. Ralph Downey and District Soccer Club Incorporated new equipment storage area, $4,834.50. Calbar School of Arts and Memorial Hall Incorporated safety enhancement through equipment acquisition, $1,431. Peak Crossing Public Hall Association Incorporated, Peak Crossing Public Hall Workplace Health and Safety Compliance 2025, $5,000. Bow Desert Pistol Club Incorporated Lighting Project Range 4, $5,000. Tamborine Mountain Orchestral and Choral Society Incorporated Orchestral Concerts, $874. Boona Gliding Club Incorporated ground handling equipment for gliders, $2,485. Lions Club of Tamborine Mountain Incorporated Mountain Mates Bush Therapy and Chookas Theatre Projects, $3,800. Tamborine Mountain Triathlon Club Watt Bike Purchase, $4,000. Fassifern Netball Association Shade Tents, $1,600. Rotary Club of Bow Desert Incorporated replace chip warmer in catering van and new point of sale till, $2,858.89. Maroon School of Arts Incorporated fence maintenance, $2,193.13. Mulgara Passion Play Associated Incorporated hot water on tap for the catering shed, $3,994.27. Boona and District Cultural Foundation Boona Arts Festival, $5,000. Broken Paddle Canoe Club purchase of paddling equipment, $325. The Bow Desert and District Horse and Pony Club Incorporated a new Portaloo, $2,702.70. Harrisville Lions Incorporated, Christmas in July 2025, $4,920. Historical Society of Beaudesert Update Equipment, $4,114, with the total recommended $84,488.09. Thank you.
Well done, councillor. Could I have a seconder to the motion? Councillor Sanders. Councillor Cryer, with all that said, would you like to talk to your motion?
I think there's some great groups there, great initiatives, and very happy to support this. And no more said. Thank you.
Fair enough. Anyone wanting to talk against the motion?
I don't want to talk against Mayor, but I'll just make an additional comment if I may. As the
Please.
councillor with responsibility for sport and recreation, it's just very pleasing to see that council can provide these community grants to all of these organisations. For many of them, they rely on these grants just for their mere survival, and I commend all of the applicants and wish them all the best in their endeavours.
Thank you, councillor. I think we all join you in those sentiments. Councillor McInnes.
Yes, Mayor, if I could ask the CEO or the GM, I take it people have just not put incorporated at the end of a number there. That is a prerequisite from memory that you have to be incorporated body to receive grants. Am I remembering that correctly, CEO?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that's correct, if I remember correctly. I'm happy to seek advice from the General Manager, but I can also hear Sharon making a noise.
I've stirred up a few people. No, it's, yeah, and maybe it's just people not putting ink at the end of it, which they really should. I'm not criticising, but it's just checking whether my observation was right.
My understanding, councillor, is that is correct. Is a prerequisite for an applicant under this program.
So as not to leave the question in any way, shape or form with a cloud around it, I think more the sentiment is that, CEO, we are confident that council administration has processed them in accordance with the law. Is that satisfactory, Councillor McInnes?
I could say no, but I won't. Yeah, it is, and it's a probably timely thing that, and I remind a lot of organisations that aren't incorporated. Yeah, I wouldn't belong to an organisation that isn't incorporated actually, and doesn't have cover. The people leave themselves open, and it's and I'm sure these are incorporated, but just haven't put the when putting their application form in, they've neglected to put ink behind it.
The council can be rest assured that the team have double checked all the applicants when they come in to ensure that they meet the eligibility criteria, of which that's one of them, councillor.
Thank you, GM. Yeah. Acting GM.
Thank you. Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? I put the motion to the members. Those in favour? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Moving to item 11.10, call upon Councillor Moriarty.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to introduce item 11.10, the 2024 to 2025 Infrastructure Capital Works Program Delivery, March 2025. I'll take the report as read and introduce the motion as it is presented, that council note the Infrastructure Capital Works Program update as presented.
Thank you, Council. Could I have a seconder to the motion? Councillor Sanders. Councillor Moriarty, wish to talk to your motion?
Mayor, thank you. Just noting there are a number of projects presented in the summary table. That out of 229 projects, there are 74 that have been completed, 107 projects that are on track or underway, and 48 projects requiring investigation or have been deferred. I'm just hoping that the acting GM might be able to just give an overview, obviously not too much detail required, but of the progress of all of those projects. Not all of the projects, obviously, but just a broad overview of the progress. Thank you.
Through the chair, thank you for the question. Yes, as part of as mentioned previously, some of the wet weather over the last couple of months has delayed some of those projects, and also looking at some of the scope of those projects. There's a number of them that we're still investigating to make sure that they're still feasible to be undertaken, and a decision will be made on them before the end of the financial year. From there, the rest of the program has been delayed, and as part of the budget amendment going forward, in the latter part of the committee meeting, they'll see an increase in the anticipated carryover figure for a number of those larger projects. A lot of them are grant-funded projects that will be finalised in the next financial year, but we're trying to work with the respective areas to best manage delivery of those projects.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? Then I put it to the floor. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Now move to item 11.11 and call upon Councillor Hay.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to introduce item 11.11, Disaster Recovery Funding Arrangements Infrastructure Recovery Update, April 2025, and I take the report as read. This report provides an update on the funding arrangements, which can be found at page 93 on the agenda, and also contains a detailed list of the works that are contained at page 97. A program financial summary of the relevant to each of the events that occurred can be found at page 98. Of interest is that the region has sustained a large amount of damage as a result of weather events, including road issues, floodway problems and landslips. And this report provides information on where the recovery process is up to for each of those events. Interestingly, it does not include the two most recent events, being Cyclone Alfred and the tornado, because those are currently under evaluation, so we're not at the point of providing a report on those at this stage. The total expenditure to date for the Scenic Rim for this recovery program is $85,460,289, of which Council has a forecast contribution of $4,026,781. The estimated final costs of all events listed is $124,712,342. You can find in the agenda there are maps of the impacted areas and the damage status for recovery for the events, and each event has a small description of where it's up to, and you can see the progress of each event in the report, which shows the percentage completed and where they're up to. So we're making really good headway at 98% of this southern Queensland severe weather 20 to 31 March 2021. But we've got a long way to go with some of the other projects. So we seem to struggle to get on top of one before the next one occurs, and then they accumulate, and then there's a shortage of materials and manpower, as well as the need to evaluate how much everything's going to cost and arranging for the actual restoration work to be undertaken. So that said, I'd like to move the motion that Council receive and accept the disaster recovery funding arrangements infrastructure recovery update as presented. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor. Seconded to the motion. Councillor Moriarty. Councillor Hay, would you like to talk to your motion?
No, I think I've said enough. Thank you.
Anyone wishing to talk against? I put the motion to the members. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillor. Now move to item 11.12 and call upon councillor Chalk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It says divisional councillor for this area, and I'll introduce this report, which is the proposed issue of a lease to community organisation Boonah Soccer Club Incorporated. The current right of use agreement to Boonah Soccer Club Incorporated for their use of a storage shed at Coronation Park commenced on the 4th of November 2009 with no expiry date. Council is requested to consider the issue of a new lease agreement to Boonah Soccer Club Incorporated at Coronation Park, Coronation Drive, Boonah. The lease area is listed as B Lot 2 on RP 153509. I'll move the following motion in that regard, which is that 1, Council resolved to notify the Boonah Soccer Club Incorporated that their existing agreement with Council for the right of use part of Lot 2 on RP 153509 is at an end, contingent upon a council endorsing the issue of a new 5-year lease to Boonah Soccer Club Incorporated. 2, council resolved that the expedition under section 236, under 2361B2 of the Local Government Regulations 2012 applies to the proposed grant of a lease to Boonah Soccer Club Incorporated for premises situated at lease area B, Lot 2 on RP 153509, situated at Coronation Park, Coronation Drive, Boonah. 3, council endorse a 5-year lease on standard terms as issued by council for Boonah Soccer Club Incorporated, expiring 30th of June 2030. And 4, council authorise the Chief Executive Officer to execute the finalise a lease agreement to Boonah Soccer Club Incorporated.
Thank you. Councillor Sanders seconding the motion. Councillor Chalk, would you like to talk to your motion?
Just to say that they're a great organisation with a large member base, and they always do fantastic things for the community and provide a great outlet for young kids to play soccer in the region. So I'm happy to support this motion and grant this lease.
Thank you. Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? I'll put it to the members. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Call upon Councillor Hay to introduce item 11.13.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to introduce item 11.13, proposed issue of a lease to community organisation Tamborine Mountain Creative Arts Incorporated, and I take the report as read. Tamborine Mountain Creative Arts has had a lease which expired last year, I believe, and is now up for renewal. And I'd just like to state, before I move the motion, that the Creative Arts Group covers a membership base of around 160 people, and it offers a very wide range of activities for people in the local community, including a craft room, creative arts and a sewing hall, sculptors and pottery shed, pottery storage shed, a garden shed and solar panels. It's a very well utilised group and premises, and I think it's important that council foster these types of community groups to enable them to be able to continue their important work in the community. With that said, I'll move to the motion that 1, council resolve that the exception under section 236 brackets 1B2 of the Local Government Regulation 2012 applies to the proposed grant of lease to Tamborine Mountain Creative Arts Incorporated for premises situated at lease area A, Part Reserve 17981, lot 196 on WD 4711, situated at 53 Wongawallan Road, Tamborine Mountain. 2, council endorse a 5-year trustee lease on standard terms as issued by council for Tamborine Mountain Creative Arts Incorporated, expiring 30 June 2030. And 3, council authorise the Chief Executive Officer to execute and finalise a lease agreement to Tamborine Mountain Creative Arts Incorporated. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor. Seconded to the motion. Councillor Cryer. Councillor Hay, would you like to talk to your motion?
No, thank you, Chair.
Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? Councillor Cryer?
I'm not against, just I'd like to add a comment that we recently attended the Tamborine Mountain Creative Arts Incorporated. It was their 50th anniversary, and there was many people attended that celebration in support of what they do there, and it's just wonderful for both their creativity and their social aspect as well.
Thank you, councillor. Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? I put it to the members. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Call upon Councillor McGuinness to introduce item 11.14.
Thanks, Mayor. My pleasure to introduce 11.14, proposed issue of lease to community organisation, that is Hayes Oval Incorporated. The lease to Hayes Oval Incorporated expired on the 30th of June 2024. Council is requested to consider the issue of a new lease agreement with Hayes Oval Incorporated at 15 Pollock Street, Harrisville, lot 42 on SP 262130. Discussions have commenced with the current leasee in relation to a potential new lease, and in doing so, council has undertaken an inspection of the site, issued a draft lease to the association, received eligibility documentation from the association in accordance with council's community tenure over council property policy. I'll move to the recommendation. One, that council resolve that the exception under section 2361B2 of the council government
Of the
local government regulations 2012 applies to the proposed grant of lease to Hayes Oval Incorporated for premises situated at 15 Pollock Street, Harrisville, and lot 2 of SP 262130. 2, that council endorse a 5-year freehold lease on standard terms as issued by council for Hayes Oval Incorporated, expiring on 30th of June 2030. And 3, council authorise the Chief Executive Officer to execute and finalise a lease agreement to Hayes Oval Incorporated.
Thank you, councillor. Anyone wish to...
Sorry, just a question. Councillor McGuinness introduced that as a recommendation, not a motion.
He's so moved, he said at the end.
At the end, all right, thank you.
Anyone wishing to
Thank
second?
you, Councillor A.
Councillor Chalk, thank you. Councillor McInnes, would you like to talk to the motion?
Yes, I will, Mayor. The Hayes Oval Incorporated, a combination of the 2 rugby league football juniors and seniors at Harrisville, and they cover the whole of the Fassvan area. They are hard-working and diligent group who have done a lot of work there, and we're hopeful of getting some funding out of the federal government if there was a change of government there, and that didn't happen, but such is life. It was one of the first things I did actually on when I got on council, was to actually buy the land, or council bought the land from the Hayes family, and it's allowed them to get a number of grants over the years, whether it be council, whether it be state and federal grants. They do, as I say, they do a lot of good hard work there, and they've just recently put in the last 6 months another field, and in the process of looking at putting lights on that. So everything's coming along quite well. It is like a lot of sports grounds. flood prone, but they work with that. It has to be a major flood for it to go across the fields, but it's a good job. There's I think 15 junior teams and two senior teams this year, so it covers a wide area from all of the Fastman, as I say, and down into south of Ipswich. So they do a good job and look after the facilities very well.
Thank you, Councillor. Yes, there's no doubt we in the Chamber can only echo your words, and that's one of the great success stories over there in Harrisville, and a huge impact on the social fabric in that community. Is there anyone wishing to talk against the motion?
No, Mr. Mayor, but I just wanted to add a comment, if I may. So I think this is a wonderful example of when council uses its foresight to make strategic purchases. It's a wonderful example of what can happen and how we can help the community progress and build sustainability. I also wanted to congratulate the staff on getting through a lot of these leases that it's providing security to a lot of these organisations, and it's wonderful to see that we're progressing through so many of them, and there is feedback from a lot of the community groups saying how wonderful that they're getting their lease. It gives them comfort and it gives them a way forward and allows them to apply for funding. So I think two things I wanted to make. The point was the strategic purchases that council does and how it affects us and or the whole community, and also the fact that we're getting through all of renewals of the leases is a great thing. So thank you to everybody involved.
Thank you, Councillor, and note your comments, and it's good to have a councillor still here on in the chamber that was there when that purchase was made all those years ago. No. Thank you. Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? I put it to the members. Those in favour? Carried unanimously.
Mr. Mayor, I was going to introduce item 11.15, Delegations Register Update, Council to Chief Executive Officer. However, this is going to be withdrawn
Through the GM?
until June.
Through the chair, thank you. If we could withdraw this for now and bring it back to a meeting later, that would be great.
Thank you. Moving on to item 11.16, a call upon Councillor Hay.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to introduce item 11.16, the review of Council's revenue policy. This is a requirement that the policy be reviewed, and it has been reviewed, and the reviewed and presented policy is actually attached to the agenda item for those who wish to read it, and I take the report as read. I move the motion that pursuant to sections 169 brackets 2 brackets C and 193 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, Council adopt the updated revenue policy.
Thank you. Seconded to the motion. Councillor McInnes. Councillor Hay, you wish to talk to your motion?
No, thank you, Chair. I think it's self-explanatory.
Anyone wishing to talk against? I put it to the members. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Call upon Councillor Chalk to introduce item 11.17.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Today we'll introduce report 11.17, which is the 2024-2025 March budget review. I'll move straight to moving a motion. I'll take the report as being read, and I'll move straight to a motion. That's okay. The motion is that in accordance with section 169 and 170(3) of the Local Government Regulation 2012, Council adopt the 2024-2025 March budget review as outlined in the 1. Revised Statement of Comprehensive Income for 2024-2025 through 2026-2027 inclusive. 2. Revised Statement of Financial Position for 2024-2025 through 2026-2027 inclusive. And 3. Revised Statement of Cash Flow for 2024-2025 through 2026-2027 inclusive. And 4. Revised Statement of Change of Equity for 2024-2025 through 2026-2027 inclusive. And 5. Revised Relevant Measures of Financial Sustainability. So moved.
Thank you. Seconded to the motion, Councillor Hay. Councillor Chalk, would you like to talk to your motion?
No, thanks, Mr. Mayor, unless there's questions.
Could we, through the CEO, maybe just call on for, I know there's an executive summary, but maybe just talk to some of the highlights in that executive summary?
Yes, thank you very much, and through the chair. Just some highlights in the report. So the March budget review includes several unforeseen expenditure budgets within the report. A couple of those being for some remediation work at Hereford Street Depot, 350,000 allowance has been made for that. An additional trigger for another disaster event has been allowed for in the budget. That's about another $326,000. And an allowance for generators at all the transfer stations throughout council, totalling $422,000, just to try and future disaster-proof those transfer stations. To try and compensate for that unforeseen expenditure, some additional revenue adjustments have been made. So fees and charges have been tracking well, have been increased by another $295,000. Interest revenue, which has been also above budget so far, and expected to remain above budget to the end of the year, has been adjusted for by $450,000. And there's been other minor adjustments to various revenue predictions to add up to another $400,000 to compensate for those unforeseen expenditure. A couple of additional capital programs have also been included in this budget review. There's been some more disaster recovery funding, or an increase in disaster recovery funding of another $5 million added to the program. A new grant for New Play Our Way program of $1.1 million, which is being used to fund the Willis Park Bay Desert Change Room. And there's an additional contribution from Urban Utilities towards Hinchcliffe Bridge. The revised operating surplus in the budget review has improved by $356,000, and the cash balance remains materially unchanged.
Thank you for that summary. Anyone wishing to, just my memory, did you want to talk to that motion?
No, I open it for questions. So.
No questions? Anyone wish to talk against the motion? I put it to the members. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Call upon Councillor Cryer to introduce item 11.18.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to introduce item 11.18, Council Monthly Financial Report for April 2025. I take the report as read. The executive team and managers have reviewed the actual to budget performance for their relevant portfolios and provide the monthly financial report for April, which is attached to the agenda, which shines a light on the financial statement level for Council's progress and position. The summary of the April 2025 monthly financial report indicates we currently have cash and investments being $22.136 million higher than budgeted expectations, and so with that I'd like to now move the motion for option 1, that Council receive the monthly financial report for April 2025.
Thank you, Councillor. Seconded to the motion, Councillor Sanders. Councillor Cryer, would you like to talk to your motion?
No, but if there are some highlights through the chair, that would be great too. Thank you.
Andrew?
Thank you very much. Through the chair. So the April monthly financial report reflects a continuation of the position from previous month reports. So activity in fees and charges has remained strong, particularly in building and plumbing and development assessment. Interest revenue, as I mentioned in the budget review, is above budget expectations and expected to continue to stay that way. Operating expenditure continues to track lower than budget, largely due to employee vacancies and also delays in maintenance operations. And the main delay in the maintenance operations is to do with weather events, causing delays in resheeting work. How that short spend on those activities is offset by unbudgeted counter-disaster operations and emergency works as a result of Cyclone Alfred, which at the time was unbudgeted for. Capital expenditure and revenues both remain lower than budget expectations due to timing delays, and Council maintains a healthy cash position boosted by the high operating surplus and deferred capital outflows.
Thank you. Any questions? Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? I put it to the members. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Turning to item 11.19, call upon Councillor Moriarty.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to introduce item 11.19. Request to undertake rateable land annual valuation effective 30 June 2026. I'll take the report as read and present the motion. The Council respond to the Valuer General Department of Natural Resources and Mines, Manufacturing and Regional and Rural Development, endorsing the State Valuation Service proposal to undertake the annual valuation of rateable land for the Scenic Rim region effective 30 June 2026.
Thank you, Councillor. Seconded to the motion. Councillor Hay. Councillor Moriarty would like to talk to your motion.
No, I don't think so, Mayor. I imagine it's a reasonably perfunctory process that we need to go through, unless others have any questions or concerns.
Anyone wanting to talk against the motion? I'll put it to the members. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Moving to item 11.20, call upon Councillor Hay.
Thank you, Chair. As a member of the Audit and Risk Committee, I would like to introduce item 11.20, report to Council of the Audit and Risk Committee meeting held on the 27th of March 2025. The report is at page 174 of the agenda and covers all of the key items that were discussed during that meeting, and unless anyone else would like to make a comment who was present at that meeting, I'll move straight to the motion, which is that Council note the report to Council on the Audit and Risk Committee meeting held on 27 March 2025. Thank you.
Thank you. Seconded to the motion. Councillor Sanders. Councillor Hay, would you like to talk to your motion?
Thank you, Chair. I think for those who have read the report, and I do take the report as read, there's quite a comprehensive list of items that were covered in that meeting, very wide-ranging, and perhaps our internal auditor might like to speak to some of the highlights of those items briefly.
I can certainly be brief. So, as Councillor Hayes said, there's always a wide range of agenda items at the Audit Committee meetings. Probably more time was spent in this meeting talking about sort of 3 or 4 of those. The complaints management update, looking at the changes in the numbers there and what could be done about that and what some of those causes were. There was a comprehensive report put forward around workplace health and safety, which is a topic that the committee covers basically once per year. And so there was quite a few things explored by the committee members there in terms of the progress reports and the plans for that area. The CEO provided an update, which was a change that the committee members had requested to get a more regular overview from the CEO on activities of the organisation, and that covered a number of specific things, but there was reasonable back and forth on that one as well. And the last area of more discussion was my own report on internal audit, where I provided a report on my review of grants management along with the status of my work.
Just a quick question, in the with the complaints management update and the statistics provided, I noticed Councillor Chalk made the point that some of the complaints are being, what the exact words are? Trying to be re-prosecuted.
Some historic issues coming again, yes.
So is that captured in the statistics?
Well, council is required to address each complaint objectively and follow the same process for each. So even where something is perhaps an attempt to re-prosecute an item, it goes into the same process and gets an appropriate level of review from current officers. So yes, they are in the stats alongside everything else.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? I put it to the members. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Now call upon Councillor Sanders to introduce item 1121.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Item 1121 is a light item. It's adoption of the 2025 to 2026 Register of Fees and Charges. I just wanted to give a bit of background. To minimise the general rate burden on ratepayers, Council will attempt to recover costs through charging fees for the use of services and facilities where it is administratively simple and efficient to do so. In setting charges for local government services and facilities, where Council is the sole supplier, prices will be based on the principle of recovering the cost to Council of providing the service or facility. In some circumstances, it may be appropriate to set charges for services below full cost recovery in order to achieve social, economic and environmental goals. Council will apply the principle of full cost recovery in setting charges for services and facilities that might be supplied by other parties, including community or not-for-profit organisations. So I'll put the motion, 1, that pursuant to section 97(1) and 262(3)(c) of the Local Government Act 2009, Council adopt the 2025-2026 Register of Fees and Charges contained in Attachment 1, and Council delegate authority to the Chief Executive Officer to make minor grammatical and formatting changes to the 2025-2026 Register of Fees and Charges if and as required.
Thank you, Councillor. So in your recommendation, just noting that attachment 1 is for a 4% increase versus attachment 2 of 3.5% increase.
That is correct, Mr Mayor.
Did you want to talk to that?
Yes, I think I can. Bear with me just a second. Cost recovery fee must not be more than the cost to the local government of taking the action for which the fee is charged. Section 262(3)(c) of the Local Government Act 2009 allows a local government to charge for a service or facility other than a service or facility for which a cost recovery fee may be fixed, so non-cost recovery fee. A list of the council fees and charges is always maintained as required by Section 98 of the Local Government Act 2009.
I guess the question is, you're pushing for 4% increase rather than 3.5%.
Never pushing, Mr Mayor.
Okay. Or recommending. With that, is there anyone wishing to talk against the motion? Oh, sorry, I do. Do I have a seconder to the motion? Councillor Crier. Do you wish, sorry, Councillor Sanders, do you wish to talk to the motion?
Yes, look, I think it's very important that where we can use the user pay option, it does help to minimise the general rate burden to ratepayers. If we don't do this, we will have to increase rates even further to cover this. So my suggestion is for the 4% increase, and of course we'll continue during the year to review. And if we believe our register of fees and charges, if there needs to be some amendment or change, we can always make that amendment during the year.
Thank you, councillor. Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? You're not wishing to talk against, but
No, yeah, if I
Councillor
could,
McGuinness?
just to, and I concur with councillor Sanders, what she said, but for us to approve that, just so it's clear to the public, that has to be done in an open council meeting. Yeah, just to, so no one's under a misapprehension.
Thank you, councillor. Anyone wishing to talk against the motion? I put it to the members. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. And that now brings a conclusion to the ordinary meeting, and I formally close the meeting at 10:31 a.m. Thank you.